so much for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Before we went on that break, I did say that our first conversation this morning would dwell on spouses and relationship with in-laws, and of course it varies. It is not a one-size-fits-all situation. Sometimes, of course, you pray, you're blessed with beautiful in-laws, beautiful personalities, but again, what are you bringing onto the table? And as spouses, how also should you relate with yourselves, and what should be the best soft landing that you should have in your spouse? Again, all of this will be taking a look at on the conversation this morning, and we do have our guest here today. She's a relationships coach, and of course she'll be taking us through this conversation. And I'm sure at one point, particular point in time, Joy and Adebimpe might also want to contribute onto this particular conversation this morning. Dr. Mrs. Olayinka Okubote is with us in the studio this morning. Thank you for being here on the program this morning.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be part of this conversation.
Right. So let's start this way. When we say in-laws, and like I said, it is not a one-size-fits-all. Sometimes you're blessed with beautiful personalities. Sometimes it is the other way around again. And then sometimes you don't choose what happens. These things are just there, they happen, but you have to be able to deal with these situations. And so oftentimes one thinks that a lot of people always say that, well, they always say that people always pray that, especially women will say, I pray that when I'm going to get married, my mother-in-law should have passed. My mother-in-law should have passed. But again, I mean, some people, it's not even the mother-in-laws. It could also be the sisters. It could be families generally. But when we say in-laws, let's identify. When you say in-laws, what kind of behavioral patterns generally should we expect to see when dealing with in-laws, either as a woman or as a man?
Okay, thank you for that question. I quickly want to take you back on the statement you made. I made a video recently on TikTok talking precisely about that issue, warning parents that they should warn their children, because if you're praying that your in-law should die before you get married to their child, invariably you're also praying for yourself, because whatever you sow, that you're going to reap. That means when it is your time for your children to get married, you won't be available there. Anyway, I pray parents will heed to that. However, whenever we are going in, whenever one is going into marriage, you should be open-minded. Open-minded. What often causes trouble between in-laws and their daughter or son's in-law is too much expectation.
Right.
Too much expectation, like the new girl or the new man going into a new family will be thinking that the in-laws, the parent, will be exactly like his own parent.
Right.
I bet you it is not possible. And anybody going into marriage should know that marriage is not just the union of the man and the woman. It's not two people. It is merging of family history, family differences, family expectation. Anybody going into marriage should go with this in mind. Open-mindedness.
Okay.
Open-mindedness.
That takes me to that Yoruba adage that says, you know, I mean, it's okay to have a bad wife or a bad husband, but you cannot afford to have a bad in-law.
No.
How do we translate that to what you've just said now, as to the fact that when you're expected to go into a marriage, you should go open-minded, thinking that definitely you're not leaving your own family to meet the replica of your family.
No.
So you must expect anything to happen there. So how do we get that into our subconscious that, you know what, against all odds, I have to just, you know, make do with what I find?
Okay, thank God for programs like this. And I like always tell parents too, there are basic conversations that parents must have with their children before going into marriage.
Okay.
And one of those basic conversations is the issue of in-laws. How do you relate with them? How do you manage conflicts? Because conflicts will definitely come. Why would there be conflict? There are two different people coming together. We did not have the same background. We do not have the same exposure. We do not have the same issue or the same challenges. So two people coming together, we must have this conversation with them, how to relate with their in-laws, creating boundaries. Creating a boundary does not mean hate. Boundary just means this is where I want you to be, this is where I want to be. As a matter of fact, any relationship where there is no boundary, there will be breakdown. And if care is not taken, the breakdown might lead to breakup. So as a parent, we must educate our children before going into marriage. Not even just your child that is going into marriage, the will-be partner. There should be a point in time where you bring two of them together, counsel them, so that they won't go into the marriage with what I call fool's paradise. They won't go into fool's paradise. What is the fool's paradise? The fool's paradise is the world of imagination. It is not the ideal world. It is not the reality of what it is. Let's say, for instance, like when I was going into marriage, the counseling we got from our spiritual leader is that take your mother-in-law as your home mother. Oh, good advice. But the first shock of my life that I got when I visited my mother-in-law for the first time, you know, with the excitement, I told her, Mom, when are you going to come and greet us in Lagos? She said, very, very soon. I told her that, oh, Mommy, when you're coming, make sure you bring Gary for us. Or, you know, I can't do without Gary or Ijebu lady. The next thing, my mother-in-law looked at me and said, this one lacks home training. Wow. I was shocked to my bone and my marrow. I went into my shade. However, whenever there is an issue with mother-in-law, spouses must also not be confrontational. That one is very, very key. If you are confrontational with your in-laws, you're going to escalate the issue. Rather, what should you do? Send their own children to them. Talk to your spouse. It is your spouse that will go and speak with his own people. We don't know.
I like this example that you've given because, again, you want to come in? Okay, go ahead, Adebimpe.
We have situations where even the spouse, especially the men, cannot even reach out to his family, be it the mother, be it the sister, so that it will not look as if he is taking sides. He just goes quiet. What if we have that type of situation? Where does this leave the other person?
Okay, where you have a spouse that cannot take his or her stand, so let me put it, that cannot tell his or her family that this is what I want. I pray God will help our children. The issue is that there will always be somebody in the family that can talk to that your mother or your father-in-law. That is why it is very, very key. What I do tell single, if you want to get married and you find out that your husband does not have somebody that he fears, somebody that he respects, somebody that can talk to him, somebody that he will honor, that's a serious red flag that one should take caution. I believe that within the family sect, there will still be somebody that can speak or that can address that issue.
Okay, Joy, let me just ride on what Adebimpe has said and then we can come back to Joy. Still riding on what Adebimpe has said and your response as to if the husband or the wife cannot stand up to the family, you know, to back the wife or the husband, and then there's really no one else around the family that you can speak to. And you said earlier, do not be confrontational. Won't there automatically be a river to cross in that family? Because once there's a gap, there's going to be a huge problem. It's either you cannot go there, they cannot come to your house, and at the end of the day you start hearing they've taken away my son from me or my daughter from me.
Oh, that is solving the issue, African mother.
Ah, yes.
Okay, God will help my gender. Okay, like I said earlier on, that is it possible that there won't be somebody that can speak? Then if that be the case, you as the wife, you can stand up, so deliver yourself. But then, you know, presentation matters. There are, like I said, there are ways to go about it. I can actually pass a message without quarreling with you. I will pass it jokingly, laughingly, but still affirmative. I think I can handle it. I can.
So individualism also will matter here. That woman, in wanting to deliver herself, must also try not to be confrontational.
Not to be confrontational.
But be bold enough to want to take the situation.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Joy has...
Okay, so my question is still in relation with this conversation that we just had now. How important is it to set boundaries, healthy boundaries against in-laws interference? Because some in-laws can be very, very funny and might want to interfere in your home. So how important is it for the couples to set healthy boundaries, or how do you go about setting these boundaries to protect yourself from interference?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Like I had mentioned earlier, setting boundary in a relationship is very, very key. And it has to do with two of you first, the two individuals that are involved. Talk to yourself secretly. Do your homework very well. Know and have it at the back of your mind that you have to prioritize your relationship, prioritize your marriage, even though you have to respect your parents, you have to respect your in-law, but you have to prioritize your marriage, you have to prioritize your in-law. That is, you have to prioritize your spouse. That is very, very key in maintaining a healthy relationship between you and your in-laws. It starts from two of you. If they find out that you are united, I bet you, they will give you name. Sorry, I have to use personal issue. I'm in my second marriage, not by choice, not because I divorced. I was widowed in the year 2014. So 3 years ago, I remarried again. So where am I going? My first marriage, anyway, there's no basis for comparison. Anyway, no two marriages can be same. And one of the major key points that our counselor gave us while we were going into the marriage is never you try to compare the old marriage with this new one. Why am I bringing this? I want to my viewers outside there that no two marriages are the same. So you can't say because Miss A or Mr. B is doing this in his or her home, that is I want to do. No, they are two different. Where am I going? You see, in my previous marriage, you know, we're still very, very useful when we got married, and thank God from the foundation we had. Do you know that my in-laws, they were trying so hard to penetrate, but two of us were like glitch, knitted together. And at a stage, anyway, I'm not afraid to say it in the air. At a stage, they started calling me names. Oh, she's from Ijebu. She might have done this.
She has cooked her for.
What am I trying to say? If they find out that two of you are well knitted, they will step back.
Because they know that that home is one.
Yes.
They cannot get into that place.
Relating with in-law perfectly start from two of you going into the marriage. Be united. Speak one voice. When they get to you and they get to him, they know that it is the same thing. So they will step back or be ready for names.
For names. So based on what you've said and the facts that, of course, there can be two marriages, the two marriages can never be the same. There will always be something that would distinguish, one from another. But in your, you're a counselor. You speak with a lot of couples. You come in contact with a lot of people. What are those basic things that generally you know,
to cause
cause issues. We know that, of course, you've mentioned in passing, you've mentioned Showuni Koni, you've mentioned, before she came, we had access to our son. But other things that ordinarily, sometimes you hear some things and you, like is that all? But so in your years of practice, what are some of those basic things that you've heard that are quite common that usually cause this fracas between couples and in-laws?
Like I've mentioned earlier, unexpected, expectation, too much expectation, high expectation not being real. And then on the part of in-laws, they're still holding on to their adult children. They have afraid, thinking that the lady or the man that is coming to take their child away from them. And at times too, finance is also another serious issue. She's not allowing my son to give me upkeep. It's not allowing my son. Well, the way forward, like I said earlier on, is to having a united front, setting a boundary. Let them know this is what we want, this is what we are caught up for. Just let them know that. I know they will take caution.
Right. Okay, Joy?
Okay. So let me paint a scenario now. How do you expect the woman to handle this issue? And so the father-in-law says, I want to come and spend some time in your house. And the son says to him, oh, how long are you staying? And he says, oh, I'm coming to stay for 3 months. And he says, oh, you can't stay 3 yes, he said 3 months. And he says, oh, you can't stay 3 months. You can only stay 1 week. We have a law in our house that no in-law stays beyond 1 week. And then the father-in-law says, it doesn't apply to me. And so how do you expect the woman in question to handle it, and also the man?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. First of all, I want us to be real. I like practical scenario. In the first instance, why don't you want your father-in-law to come? Let's try to get the reason why you do not want the father-in-law. Then secondly, I also want us to be sincere. What is the father-in-law coming to do? If you can get these two questions, if you can get the right answers to those two questions, I'm very sure we have a way forward. So as a woman, your father-in-law is coming, and you know the reason why the father-in-law is coming. It is a genuine one. I'm not sure. I know we have some ladies that could be something else, but I don't think. And you explain. You carry your spouse along. You explain, you made her realize. I'm very sure she will come down.
Let me stay with Joy's question here and try to, because again, from the scenario she painted, the husband was emphatic that the law in our house is, we've agreed that in-laws cannot stay more than a week. And so if it is established that they agreed, both parties agreed from the beginning that this is how we want to do our thing, and then they tell daddy that, daddy, we have agreed that 1 week is the maximum that we can afford that you come in, is that still a problem?
I feel, to me, there is always an exception to every rules and every law. If what Papa is coming for is actually genuine, like for instance, I want to travel out of the country for a medical checkup. I booked my flight. I've made my preparation that I'm going to spend like 1-2 weeks with my children there, and all of a sudden situation changes that has to be extended. I don't think there should be an issue if the reason for coming is actually genuine, and then you carry your spouse along, make it, you see, when you are explaining to your parents, if you don't talk authoritatively, you talk with respect and lovingly, making your points. With that, I'm not sure Papa will understand, and the other party too we understand. It's not just Papa is just coming for pleasure. It's not that he's just coming to be a liability. What about Papa's wife?
Well, Joy, okay, maybe you have to help us reconnect that scenario.
Because these days the law does not apply to him.
Okay, he's bringing himself out of that law. That
it doesn't apply to him.
It's my son's house. I have to.
And then you are not giving prior notice.
No. Can I ask a question? Why are there laws safe?
No, there could be laws that they are just going into. It's just to guide you. Again, no.
She's just becoming a traditional woman. Maybe in our days, your man,
they could come
anytime without notice.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is that the story is not the same. And so, if you really want to get along with your children after marriage, you have to understand the trend. It is not the way it used to be.
Yeah.
That is just the truth.
Right. So, I mean, these things.
I don't believe in it.
You don't believe in it. That's you. That's you.
So
laws are boundaries.
And like you said earlier,
laws are boundaries.
What works for Adebimpe might not work for me. So if there are things that you see and then you think that, okay, no, I wasn't brought up this way, and then I want to continue that way, it's fine. And then Joy says, no, this is what works for my husband and I. We want to do it that way. There are times that I've also seen frictions where it would be the wife that will say, oh, allow your father or your mother to come. And the husband will vehemently say, me, I don't want it. And then in such a situation, the other side...
blame Joy.
They will still
blame the wife. That is the wife that is causing the friction. It's the wife that doesn't want, and the man will still not go and defend the wife and say that she's not the one. It's me.
Let me just bring in this. The truth of the matter is that women, for who we are naturally, the way God created us, let me say it's in our DNA. We are natural influencer. We can have whatever we want if we choose to have it. We are natural influencer. But the truth of the matter is that, like we have been saying, I said earlier on, the moment they can't get in between, they give you names. Be ready for names. Anybody going into marriage, there are conversations we must have with our children. These are part of it. Let's prepare your mind. Prepare your mind. They might call you names that your parent did not give you. But don't let that one change who you are. And above it all, I campaign regularly that the power of prayer in any marriage cannot be overstated or overemphasized. The heart of the king is in God's hand. With prayer, there is nothing you can achieve. I tell you, some in-laws can be, they can be something
else. You're cringing like some in-laws
can be, there is nothing you do that they will ever be satisfied. Because before you come into the marriage, they have a premonition. Ijebu lady, if you marry her, Ijebu people, if you marry them, this is what they do. Abeokuta people, if you marry them, or if you go and marry somebody from Ikorodu, you're on your own, or you go and marry Edo, they have that premonition. So you're going into that kind of marriage, the acceptance might not be there immediately. It might not be there immediately, but with time, with consistency, when they say that you are maintaining same standard every now and then, you are not having two faces. With time, I know they will come to your side. They will.
You've mentioned something now, and I think I mentioned it in passing earlier on, that what you cannot follow through, don't start.
Exactly.
So how do you also, I mean, let's speak to some of our viewers who are watching this morning who also think that because I want my in-laws to like me, I want to put up a front, I want to do this. When it becomes overwhelming and you decide to now maintain status quo, you're in trouble. So if you're not going to kneel down, don't start. Let them cuckoo call you
Asha.
From the beginning. So how important is it really to be who you are? Let them know you for who you are from the beginning, and not start what you cannot finish, or what at the end of the day you get a midpoint and you break down.
Okay, God will help us. Like you have said, And also to our viewers out there that are listening to us, if you are a parent, emphasize this. Let your child going into the marriage know that whatever you can continue with your in-law, don't start it. And then in maintaining your stand, you want to add that it's not something you can do alone. It has to be with the backing of your spouse. Like, let me use this practical scenario. I remember when one of my brothers got married, he came home, you know, it was a festive period, this Christmas like this. He came home and jokingly, he told all of us, oh, please, oh, nobody should expect my wife to come and do, you know, Yawole. He said it jokingly. He turned to me, he turned to my mother, please don't expect my wife to come and do Yawole. So what am I trying to say? Most of these standard creation, boundary creation is not what you can do alone. It might be difficult to achieve without the support of your spouse. That is why one front is very, very key and paramount in any marital relationship.
Okay, Joy, you were going to say something.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
At what point do you begin to identify when an in-law is becoming overbearing? You know, and do you nip it in the bud, or you just give them grace that okay, if they continue, and then that is when I come in. At what point do you identify?
The rope will be very long.
At what point do you identify first when your in-law is becoming overbearing?
Okay, when you say in-law, I know you are not talking about when you're still dating or when you're still married. But now that you are married, I know.
Maybe you also want to break which of the in-laws. Is it the mother-in-law, the sister-in-law, the brother-in-law?
Oh, no, girl. The truth of the matter is that, you know, it is actually my gender that is solving the problem.
It is this gender that is
actually my gender that is the problem. Like one of my spiritual leader will say, it's a woman that is the problem of a woman. And that is just the gospel truth. At what, like, I will try to explain it in English. There's an adage in my local dialect. The truth of the matter is that when you're going into marriage, the in-laws, you can't run away from them, but don't be 100%, don't be too free. Let me put it that way. You can't run away from them, but you can't just be too free too. What do I mean by too free? If my daughter is married, is in her husband's house, she can call me mom, or you can call your mom at any time. Mom, I'm going out, so come and help me take care of my children also. Can you actually do that freely with most mother-in-laws? So what am I trying to say? To prevent excessiveness, or to cut off the excessiveness of in-laws, don't give them too much information, especially sensitive information about your marriage. It's not everything that is happening that you take to your in-laws, even to your own mother or your
because you need to also help your home. You need to
help your home. You need to protect your home. And like they will say, by the time you finish settling that quarrel, the only thing that I will tell anybody in marriage not to hide is when it comes to physical combat, domestic violence. No, you have to speak up. You have to speak up. You have to speak to everybody around you that cares to listen or that can be of help to you. So at what point will you say, when you begin to penetrate, you want approval? You must approve anything they want to do. If your mother-in-law started being too controlling, she wants to know everything happening in the house. She must be part of every decision that you want. She wants to be part of every decision that you want to take. As a matter of fact, the son cannot take a decision without saying, let me get back to my, let me hear what mom will say. Oh, permit me to ship in this funny, but you know, we all have the past. Before I got married, there's this man or guy then that I was cutting with that we were to marry. Thank God for late blessed memory of Pastor Bimbo Odukoya that taught us some basic principles that you have to watch out for when you go into marriage. We will discuss like this, that this is what we want to do. Before you know it, you will come back and say, this one is not even the mother. You say, my sister said we should not do it that way. The first time, the second time, I said, this one will not happen the third time. That is how I took to my heels. I took my decision. I said, no, Yinka, this is not a way for you to go. As parents too, we must deliberately teach our children a red flag to watch out for before even going into the relationship.
We need to talk about those red flags, and like I always say, a broken relationship is far better than a broken marriage. But before we talk about those red flags, I quickly want to flip the cards here and look at also some situations where it is the wife's parents that are actually the trouble. It is the wife's parents that are actually giving the husband the hot side of the rod, and then they are the ones always wanting to know what is going on within their home setting, and they are the ones also wanting to know why you're not telling us what is happening in your home, what is going on with your husband, and all of that. So sometimes it is not always our agenda that is that is the problem. Yes, even the other way around, it could still be our agenda, but this time it is not against the wife, but it is against the husband.
When I mean our agenda, I'm not talking in relation to the husband's side alone. I'm talking to both sides. To both sides. It can be mother-in-law, it can be
mother-in-law,
it can be paternal,
the other side.
It can be paternal, it can be maternal.
Right.
It can be from the husband, it can be from the wife.
Yeah.
No, it is not straight. When it is the wife that is the one giving information to a parent, then she's not matured enough. And that is why premarital counseling is very, very key. I want to appeal to us, let's promote it. Premarital counseling is very, very, very important. It is what parents should do. It is what religious organizations should do, not even just religious organizations. It is what philanthropists can come together. Premarital counseling, very, very important.
Right.
So that's what I just want to say.
Red flag issues. You mentioned one, of course, while you were cutting, you realized that this one is not even a mama's, but it's a sister's. This one is about my sister, my brother, and all of that. Oftentimes, it is about my mother or my father's set. So, what are some of the other issues that you see as a red flag that you should actually run when it comes to dealing with in-laws? Sometimes it's the first time you visit a family that you just feel that no, it doesn't feel like this home is going to be as receptive as I would love for it to be, but you still go ahead. Love will still blind you.
That same love, by the time it gets to a certain stage, we open your eyes. And then you will see the reality of the show.
Right, because again, sometimes you think, okay, how do we get it into our heads that it is not all situation that you can change? Because some people will say, don't worry, when we get there, the situation might change. Is that a good thing?
It's not a good thing at all. I will not subscribe to that. We have also said it in the past, what you are not going to take, right from the outset, let it be made known. Don't push it. Most of the time, it is a fear of the unknown. Well, fear, and like the popular definition, fear is false evidence appearing real. If I leave this one now, when will I get to? And I've been told there is no perfect man, and so let me keep managing. No, don't keep managing. The moment you notice, well, maybe you want to get married, somebody that is not supporting your vision, your ambition. It's not, because we have seen a husband, the moment the woman gets to the house, they will say you cannot work again. And meanwhile, you met her working. Right. So all of these are basic conversation we must have. Not supporting your vision, so always nagging, always complaining about your look, always even body shaming you, complaining all the time. all these are red flags that one should take note. You will start. You are not yet married, but we'll give you laws. I don't want to see you with this person. I don't want to see you with this person. You must not go with this person. You must not go. No. And above all, never mind if I sound religious, but I believe in the power of prayers.
Right.
So we should pray. Whosoever you want to get married to, pray that God will open your eyes to see beyond the physical. Because some people can actually pretend.
Yeah.
They know how to pretend. They will pretend. They will package
package
it. They will deliver
well.
it to you. And you won't even suspect that this is packaging. But when this God factor is involved, He will open your eyes. And for anybody going into marriage to see parental guidance too is very, very key. Most especially if you are sure that this my parents they are godly people. I want to appeal to young ones out there. If you are sure that your parents, they are godly, they are not sentimental people, they are not tribalistic, when they tell you, please listen to them. Like an adage in my language, what an elderly man or woman will sit down and see conveniently, even if you're on top of what is the tallest building? The tallest building. Everest. The tallest building in the world. That is Dubai. Even when you are on top of it, you might not see it.
Right.
So young ones, listen to your parents, most especially when they are godly, they are not sentimental, they are not tribalistic.
Joy, do you have a question? It seems the producer thought you had a question. You're good? Maybe while you're thinking.
I have a question, but after
you will talk to her. All right, before we allow her go, I mean, you've talked about the fact that parents must sit with their children and tell them basic things.
Basic conversations
we must have. Can you go over those conversations again?
Let's talk about this conflict management. Okay. Very, very key. Relationship with in-law. Very, very key.
Okay.
Financial management, very, very key. Your spiritual attainment, the spiritual aspect of it too, must be taken into consideration. What do I mean by spiritual? Maybe you are from different religion. Don't say when we get there we will cross over. No, talk about it now. If possible, talk about the child bearing and child rearing. You say that, okay, I want to have, what's the number of children you want to have? Agree on it. How do you want to keep your finance? You see that you want to keep a joint account, separate account. All of this we talk about. How do we handle our parents? You see that we want to be giving them money monthly, or all of these are basic conversation that we must have.
Right. How about emotional intelligence when it comes to being, handling, looking at the situation and being able to decipher how best to go about the situation? Sometimes all your mother-in-law requires is just love and attention. How do you maintain that balance and, win them over with just basic things? Some people are just attention seekers. They just want to be seen and to be heard. So emotional intelligence
is very,
how
very
do you
key.
also handle that?
Okay, God will help us. For any person, I don't want to talk about wife or the wife or the husband. Anybody going into marriage to have a smooth relationship with your in-laws, it just requires little actions. Little action. Respects them, caring for them, celebrating them, all of their, what they call across on their birthday, on their anniversary. Appreciate their little efforts. They were praying for you. They came visiting. They give your child, their grandchildren or grandchild, they give a gift. They pay visit. All of these little things, it means a lot to them. Appreciate them, respect them. I know with all
as
of
long
this
as they see you not wanting to
take away between them and their children. They will get loose with time. It might not happen immediately. Some of them will still want to test you. Oh, this is a premonition I have about Ijebu lady. So with the moment you get there, they will be 100% how to wash.
To see that Ijebu part of you come out.
But when they stay and they find out that you are consistent with your behavior, I mean,
they just let you
they
be.
will let you be.
And everybody will be happy
I
at
will
the
be
end
happy
of
at
the
the end
day.
of it. So, and then if there's some other people to Ijebu, she has used that to win you over. But we should not let that one be the challenge. Be yourself.
Okay.
That's just it.
Be yourself at the end of the day. It's not. It is not a rosy game, but
Of
it's one that can actually
yes. That is just it.
Okay.
It might not be rosy.
be won. But at the end of the day,
At the end of the day, if you're consistent, you're prayerful, you're positive, things will work out well. Don't also sorry for taking.
fine.
Don't also go into the marriage with the premonition that mother-in-laws
I'm
are
here.
witches. They are virtually all mother-in-laws are witches. So you are ready to attack already. You're already wearing a defensive look. No, it's not going to end well.
it won't end well. Okay, what a fine place to leave this conversation this morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Olayinka Okubote, for finding time to be with us on the program this morning.
It is a pleasure.
It's
all the
been
time.
beautiful speaking with you today. Thank you so much for your time.
Nice being here.
Of course, we've been speaking with our guest this morning, and she's helped us find a better balance in this particular situation. So many things that we need to, know. Don't go into marriages with a premonition that you know what is happening. Just go, be respectful, be kind, show them love, show them attention, and let them see you as the bridge, like you are the door that sees their home and sees them. Stay there and be the balance and not be on the defensive part at all times. Thank you for watching this side of the table this morning. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Adebimpe and Joy will be here with the Lagos Conversation.